I had been told for about 5 years actually that I wouldn't ever be able to have children. So it was a huge surprise.
A miracle. That's how Charlotte Bellis describes her pregnancy. The journalist made headlines in Afghanistan last year when she questioned the Taliban at a press conference.
What assurances can you give to women and girls that their rights will be protected?
Now 25 weeks pregnant, still in Afghanistan, Charlotte has been asking similar questions of the New Zealand government.
Yeah, I ironically asked, what are you going to do to ensure the rights of women and girls? And a week later, I conceived a little girl against all odds. And 6 months later, we're in this fight. But in New Zealand, which should be kind of the bastion of women's rights, you can't make it up.
New Zealand requires returning citizens and residents to quarantine in a hotel, but spots are limited. A lottery-style system, which has left many Kiwis stranded abroad, has been suspended, leaving Charlotte to apply for an emergency exemption. Despite sending 59 documents supporting her application, she was rejected.
I've been a big fan of the New Zealand COVID response for a long time. They've done an incredible job of keeping COVID out and saving a lot of lives. But the fact of the matter is that I am a New Zealand passport holder and have a legal right to return.
After days of pressure, today the New Zealand government announced she would be granted a place in hotel quarantine.
Important point here is there is a place in MIQ for Ms. Bellis, and I urge her to take it up.
Auckland lawyer Tudor Clee has successfully represented dozens of stranded pregnant Kiwis pro bono and worked on Charlotte's case.
I represent people in gangs and domestic violence and serious crime. I have never seen such hostility towards an issue ever as there is towards women's reproductive rights and ensuring that women can safely come back and give birth in New Zealand.
Charlotte was told by New Zealand authorities she had applied for her exemption too early and to reapply within a 14-day window or under different criteria.
Can we just look at the big picture and say, okay, look, these are our citizens. They are stuck overseas. Let's be solutions focused here, and what can we do to resolve this?
Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern and the COVID response minister referred questions from 7:30 to the quarantine department, who said it works hard to ensure everyone is treated fairly. Pregnancy in and of itself is not considered an emergency under the criteria. The opposition argues the country's approach needs to change with Omicron spreading in the community.
I call it the lottery of human misery, and it very much is that. It's cruel, and it's time to move on from that phase of the pandemic.
In recent weeks, Charlotte received reassurance from some contacts in the Taliban about her being unmarried and pregnant in Kabul. She has previously reported on the dire state of maternity care in the country.
They didn't have power, they'd run out of fuel for the generator, they couldn't do C-sections, they didn't have any medicine other than paracetamol.
She's an unmarried pregnant woman, who's basically being offered a better safe haven or better comfort and refuge in Afghanistan by the Taliban than by her own government. That's the critical point.
Charlotte's plight has cast a global spotlight on Jacinda Ardern's strict COVID policies and her own priorities.
This was a lovely shot. This was you at the UN with your baby. Has any leader ever brought their baby to the UN
No,
before?
I'm told it hasn't happened before.
That's a first.
She's very proudly at the United Nations breastfeeding at the General Assembly to show that we're a leader in maternal rights. There is no safety net, and the pregnant women who are offshore, they have simply been abandoned by the government, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Late this afternoon, Charlotte issued a statement thanking people for their support, but expressing concern that the lack of a pathway for other pregnant women still hadn't been addressed.
Hopefully it moves the dial, at least in New Zealand, towards a more kind of ethical, logical response.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.